All right, tonight we did something that we normally don't do. We went to a haunt that we usually studiously avoid every single year for various reasons. Hype, we know the wait's long, we never can fit it in our schedule. I was there years ago, I wasn't overly impressed, okay, etc., etc. So there are various reasons, but this one, everybody asks about it and everybody says, oh, it's the best haunt ever. Are you going to go review it? Well, we did. It's Statesville Haunted Prison in Lockport. We went out there. Laura, what'd you think?
Well, first of all, I have to say, like, the sets and what they did. I mean, it's so, like, it's immersive with what you do. And, I mean, the sets are so detailed that they're from the floor all the way up to the ceiling. You look up and the sets just completely, everything is completely detailed. That I was very impressed with. Actors were good. Of course, I had a girl, someone, as I was walking by, spit in my eye, which didn't go over very well with me. But, and then they kind of, when you're in the line, they kind of herd you like cattle, and they want you to squeeze in really close together, like a claustrophobic feeling, which I wasn't too happy about. But the haunt itself, I mean, the first haunt was in a prison. Haunted prison was very well done. Like I said, the sets make it. I mean, and just the whole atmosphere means a lot. And I really, thought that was great. The second haunt, the City of the Dead, that was fantastic. I was really blown away. Even though the prison one was good, and you walk through an actual, like, a bus and everything, very realistic. Felt like you were in a movie, and that was great. I liked the guy, like, on the bed, and he had no shirt on. He was rubbing his belly, and then he slid the bed so he couldn't get through. That was good. I liked that. But that was in the prison part. But the City of the Dead just really blew me away. The sets, it just felt like you were really there, like in this jungle or whatever it was, with the moss people, and very, very good. So, but the only thing is, there was a couple things that I didn't like the way they herded you like cattle, even though I know they were very efficient. It was very, very efficient, but it just wasn't my thing. The haunts themselves were excellent, but I don't know if I'd wait 3 hours or whatever those wait times would be. So I'm going to give it 4.5. 4.5 chainsaws. I'm taking off for the herded like cattle part.
Okay. I have to say, Statesville has a sort of storied history with the horror tours. We've been there separately, some of the tours. I was there several years ago. One of our former tours was there several years ago. We went away thinking, yeah, it's okay. But again, a lot of hype. You wouldn't want to wait in a 3-hour line, etc., etc., etc. So for various reasons, it was never high on our list to go back to. But I have to say, I'm very happy that I did. I will also say that we probably wouldn't have gone if we didn't get the Living Social deal that we had. There was a Living Social deal. And it's still available for Halloween weekend in case you want to go. It's available for Halloween weekend, and it was available for this weekend. VIP tickets for $25. I highly suggest you get VIP and you get there when they open. Because we had VIP. We
still waited, yeah.
We had VIP and we waited about half an hour, which for Statesville is actually quite good. And I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed the entire experience. I would rate Statesville, in terms of set design, extremely highly. The prison looked like a prison. Not that I've been on the inside of many prisons, but prisons that I've seen on television, let's put it that way, or in the movies. You're indoctrinated. You're treated like cattle, and I know Laura didn't like this, but you're herded like cattle. It fits with the theme of what they're doing. It reminded me a lot of the way they treat people who are in a lineup, or prisoners, or in the military. That's what it reminded me of. I thought it was well done, and I didn't think any of the actors were extremely pushy. I thought Statesville has a reputation of being really in-your-face, intense. If you're scared, they're going to be all over you type of thing. I didn't see any of that through this haunt. I didn't see the actors who were lining us up getting in your face and being abusive or offensive or anything. And I don't mean abusive in a bad way. I mean abusive in an acting way, which we sometimes see in haunts. I didn't see any of that there. So I'm not sure where that reputation comes from. Perhaps they did that in the past, but I didn't see it this time. In any case, I have to say, the patron flow was outstanding. There was a huge crowd there. The parking lot was full when we got there. Huge crowd. And the way they put us together, we never ran into the group in front of us. We never ran into the group behind us. We were never blocked waiting to get into another room, etc., etc., etc. Patron flow was outstanding. And they put groups of like 40 people in at the same time. 40 or 50 people, lined them up, and then they divide them up into rows and send them into the next room. Never waited too long. A couple minutes in one section or another, maybe a minute. Not bad at all. Really effectively done. And it fit with the theme. Keeping with that, the prison sets, outstanding. From ceiling to floor to walls, everywhere. You're in a prison and you never get out until the very end. You go through processing. One of the wait time areas is where prisoners would get their uniforms. Another wait time area is where prisoners would get their pills, like in the medical ward. Okay? Great disguise for that. And of course, the reception area is where the warden, quote unquote, comes out and reads you the rules, talks about Statesville and how you're his forever. And it really did seem as though you were entering a prison that was now being run by the inmates and how they might treat you, of course. So we went through different areas. The shower area was fantastic. Shower stalls with running shower heads in the background. And they carried this theme all the way through. There were toilets, there were showers, there were sinks, in addition to the patients in there and that sort of thing. Very effectively done. There was a morgue area. There was a kennel area with people, a guy with animals. There was a boiler room area where we actually had to crawl inside a boiler and duck down. There were pipes over our head, pipes around the side. There was smoke coming out of the boiler. There was, of course, a prison bed area where Laura met her favorite guy in the prison. He was great. He was sitting on the bed with his shirt off, and he's rubbing his belly reading a magazine, and as he walks in, of course, he likes what he sees, so he slides the whole bed over to block the exit. Hilarious. And then he starts asking us for things. Very, very well done.
He was asking me, it's cigarettes, wasn't he?
Cigarettes.
Yeah.
It was hilarious the way he did that. He slid that bed over so easily and blocked our... I mean, it's just hilarious. Okay, there was that. There was a number of other rooms. There was a medical room. Of course, you see a lot of these things in different areas. And I will also say that there was no let up. There were no empty corridors where there was just nothing. It was constantly actors and or props through a set. The set design was carried all the way through from the beginning to the end. There was only one room, I would say, that didn't really make sense, and there was a room with dolls. Although the room was good, it was mirrors and dolls, I thought it was very well done. Didn't really fit with the prison in my mind. And there was a clown room, too, but that was effective, because the clown room had mirrors on the walls with red squares and then the mirrored sort of clear squares, and all the actors, all the live actors, had that same pattern on their clothing. So they blended in, and there was a strobe light. And there were people all over the place. Really great, just coming out of everywhere. Again, I would say the actors were not overly intense as far as I noticed. Maybe I'm a little bit jaded, but I don't think so. I was expecting a lot of in-your-face, following you around, abusing you verbally type of thing. And I really didn't get any of that. Didn't see any of that. Not that that's a bad thing. I thought it was very well done. It's about 22 minutes long or so. The second haunt was City of the Dead. From the outside, this looked like it was going to be your typical cannibal area type of thing. But when you got in, it seemed to be more of a mine area. When I first got there, I thought, it's a second haunt. How good's it going to be? I have to say, as immersive as Statesville was, and I have to say Statesville obviously is the one that everybody mentions. Nobody ever mentions City of the Dead as far as I can recall. This was so immersive. I was so impressed with this. I felt as though I was at Universal Studios. I felt as though this was some sort of big amusement park that I was in. When you got in there, you descended into a world where these people dwell. And the place where they sort of get you in there, if you look up in the ceiling, there are creatures, life-size, giant creatures hanging from the ceiling, and they're all animated. They turn them on and they animate. And this is just the room before you walk in. There were actually giant claws coming out of the ceiling, coming down at us. Very effective.
That was very, it was impressive.
And it was I say ceiling. It was not a ceiling. It looked like exactly what they said it was, a cave system, a mine. And then when you went inside, we were all of a sudden in a forest. And as far as you could see, there were trees all over the place. You look up at trees and moss and stuff. Little actors coming out of the bottoms of trees. Large actors swinging from trees. fantastic. Live snakes as well. Live snakes in this haunt. Never seen a haunt with live snakes all over the place. Additionally, there were moss-covered areas with giant trees covered in moss, guys hidden in moss suits inside the trees. One of them got me really good. And also, at the very end, there was a scene where you walk through one of those giant inflatable black passageway things. You walk through, and you all of a sudden you come out in this really sort of oddly designed, mystical area with these creatures in robes and animal heads with ram's horns and things, and they all look creepy. All right, that was very effective. And you see this guy off in the distance. He's sort of hanging in the air, and he's got this weird ram's horn thing and an animal head and a robe, and he's flying over people's heads back and forth. That in and of itself was very clever. But they had one of those black blow-up things, okay, that you walk through that you see all the time in haunts. But this one was a little bit different because you descended into it. It started at your waist, but the ramp went down as you went through, so it kept going higher and higher and higher. And in the meantime, this guy's swinging over your head, flying over your head back and forth. Very effectively done. This was so immersive, I loved it. It was about 10 minutes long, but it seemed a lot longer than that. I have to say, the set design, outstanding in there. Actors really good. No jumping out and going boo here. These were cleverly done actors. So, all in all, does Statesville live up to the hype? Yeah, I would have to say, if you go to Statesville and you never go to any other haunt here in Illinois, and you don't know what to expect from a haunted house, and you go there, I think you're going to come away saying, wow, this is really outstanding. We go to a lot of haunts, and I have to say, I really enjoyed this one. I will say, though, it's not as intense as, nowhere near as intense as people say. This reputation of it being so hardcore, honestly, I don't know where that comes from, to be frank with you. My advice, try to get a discount. Don't wait in line. Go during the week. Go early. Is it worth a 2-hour wait? No. But then again, no haunt is worth a 2-hour wait.
No.
So, but overall, absolutely. If you can get a discount and you can get there on time, definitely Statesville is worth it. It's well worth it for what you get. It beats out similar haunts in a similar price range because it offers more. So definitely 5 chainsaws from me. Very good. All right, our annual visit to Niles Haunted House, Niles Scream Park. Start again. Our annual visit.
Take 3.
All right.